Hey guys, we're back with the next episode of our Sryth fantasy text-based RPG. Last time we were doing the Hidden Lair in Apple River Castle, and before that we did some joint with Mazerel's cellar, where she wanted us to clear her old watchtower so she can fix it up and live there. So yeah, we're still showing us there. I'm gonna go back to Trithix, see if there's any more quests going on there. And if not, we can go ahead and think about the next town we're gonna go to. In case you're wondering what happened to Tuesdays and Thursdays episode, and you missed my other episode, I've reduced this down to 3 days a week because we're just exploring around and we've done all the things I really wanted to do, and now it's just about seeing things that I've not seen yet. So thanks so much for hanging out and joining me. Let's go. Explore the city. River Docks has some adventure, I'm sure. There's a young woman. You once again approach the young woman whom you've twice before encountered, and she smiles at you as you draw near, pushing back some of the dangling locks of matted black hair. I'd almost given up on seeing you again, she said, nervously glancing in several directions. Not thinking straight these days, mind you, so things aren't as easy as they might be. Just wait a moment, I have something for you. She begins earnestly rummaging through her pockets. Here we have it. Just the bit I was looking for. It might have been looking for me, for us. Here it is. The young woman produces a small jagged piece of green stone and holds it for you to see. Haven't you already a pair of these? Of course, there's nothing to say you can't have the whole of them. Of course, there's nothing to say you can't have the whole lot of them. Perhaps you will. Your time and fortune are to grant it. Here, take it. She hands you the stone, pressing the piece into your hand. You again ask for her name, but the young woman merely shows in response. If I knew that much the less dire would my station be. Dreams have told me much that my waking mind can no longer clearly see. The path is there, but it is broken. You can help me, but only if you continue to find me. You must help me. Before you attempt to ask her anything else, she turns and dashes off along the quayside and is soon out of sight. While puzzling over the most recent encounter with the young woman, attempting to make sense of what she said, you secure the jacket shard of greenstone and amongst your other possessions. Then, wondering when and where you will next cross paths with her, you set off on your way. Yeah. So this is the second woman who just shows up mysteriously to me all the time. How are these women stalking me? You know what I mean? What? Suddenly something blunt and heavy smashes the back of your skull, sending you sprawling to the ground. Last thing you see before everything goes back is a gaunt, cruel face of a man staring down at you. Follow her up, issues a sharp voice. As your eyes fly up and you find yourself being hauled to your feet, ignoring the pounding ache on the back of your head, you quickly survey the scene and realize you're in an alley adjacent to the river docks, surrounded by 3 unsavory-looking leather-clad roughnecks. The 2 men who drag you to your feet release their grip in your arms and step back. The third man, whose voice greeted you upon waking, steps forward, and the cold gaze of his bright blue eyes filling you with a profound sense of dread. Where is that woman you just met? He says bluntly. Oh, now we're in trouble. We're taking stuff from this lady. He asked, pointedly moving his right hand on the hilt of a dagger tucked into his belt. What's your business with her? Where is she gone? Having no intention of providing any information to the assailant, you brazenly tell him as much, eliciting a scowl and a hail of vile curses from the blue-eyed man. Put it to her, he snarls, nodding at his cohorts. Grab her and I'll see she becomes a bit more reasonable. The 2 men immediately move to take hold of you. Man, you attempt to twist away from the 2 men, but their meaty, vice-like hands clamp onto your arms, holding you in place. The blue-eyed man promptly steps forward and places his hand right on your shoulder, sending an electrified jolt surge through you. You collapse to the ground, still shaking from the jolt, and immediately attempt to regain your feet, only to be struck over the head and driven back down. As the world around you slowly goes dark, the last thing you see is the blue-eyed man and his 2 thoughts hustling out of the alley. Can I use rejuvenation? Restoration, I mean? Yeah, I can. Your eyes crept open, and you stagger to your feet, realizing you must have been unconscious for several minutes. Mindful of the throbbing ache at the back of your head, you slowly make your way out of the alley, wondering at the identities and the motives of your assailants. Silently violence remember the gaunt, cruel face of the blue-eyed man. Oh, we're done. Well, they didn't kill me for not knowing. Anyway. what I was gonna do is go to Bloody Square and hit the marketplace and sell this stuff I have. Oh, I can talk to Mazzaro? I did not know that. Bloody Square Marketplace is packed with a myriad of vendors creatively and aggressively vying for the attention of those who wander the maze of stalls in search of useful and interesting items. Many of the merchants sell their wares are here travelling along River Trin and are temporarily set up shop in the market hat, so you can earn some of the vast fortunes of gold that flow through the bustling river port. Yeah, I need to sell some stuff. Yeah, all this stuff. I mean, where am I gonna get it for better? I don't know. I'm just over-encumbered, I know that. So, now we're good. Go back. Let's talk to Mazzaro. You find Mazzaro haggling with a man over a pair of well-crafted daggers, but upon seeing you, she really dismisses him, moves over to meet you in a shoulder crush. For your success of your mission, she smiles and bows deeply. I suppose I'll have to take you at your word, she says, regarding you somewhat curious glance before breaking into a brass man. Only just, Allison, I can't possibly thank you enough. Mazzaro reaches into her tunic and produces small pouch and she tosses to you. There you have it, she says, the 2 adventure tokens I promised you. Oh yeah, she was gonna give her wasn't it 8? You loosen them and feel like contents in your hand, although you expect she's gesturing, you believe. You're relieved to see 8 adventure token now resting in your palm. What is that then, 8? Well, you can keep the extra 6, Allison. After all, I have plenty of those things lying about. You spend some time talking with Mazzaro and fascinated to learn that she often comes in possession of rare and valuable items, which she trades for adventure tokens and gold. I move from place to place, she says, closely watching the guard street urchins as they move up to a collection of wares. You can usually find me in Salinas, though, and that's where I seem to have my best luck in all manner of things. Good luck on the road, Allison, and thanks for everything. Hope our paths cross again someday. You bid Mazzaro farewell and set off on your way. Hey. So I can talk to her any time I want. There's a guy with a dark blue coat. As you approach the man, he retreats several steps and motions for you to step closer. After making certain that no one is lurking about nearby, you move over to him and ask what he wants. Travel to the southern reaches of the kingdom. Oh, this guy again. I guess we'll make note of this if we want to go down that. I don't know that I do. Sounds like a multiplayer thing. Not that I think there's a lot of multiplayer things in this game, but I don't really do multiplayer. Alright. Buildings, move elsewhere. Marketplace, move elsewhere. Addison Tunnels, North Section. Visit the Thomas Key. Perched atop a tall forested hill in the far north end of Trinity, just inside the city walls, sits the imposing monastery of Learlock. The mammoth building of grey stones is the oldest structure in the city, built many centuries ago by the missionary of Sryth named Shath Learlock. Since the time of Learlock, the monastery has been home to the Order of Hammersign, an astutely devout brotherhood of monks who dedicate themselves to peaceful, pious existence, away from the affairs of the outside world. The tall iron fence surrounding the entirety of the hill on which Lockleigh Monastery sits keeps probably securely from increasingly seedy cityscape. 2 monks who garbed in plain green oak rose come into the Order of Hammersign, then guard the gate. Each monk has a warhammer slung on his belt. As you approach the gate, they smile and greet you courteously. So you suddenly become uneasy beneath the piercing gaze of 2 monks at the gate. After delivering them a hastily devised excuse, you turn and move swiftly away from the monastery. Yeah, they're evil now. Get runs in. Alright, move elsewhere. What's in the eastern part going on? I got a residence. This is my residence. Pay a visit to the Thane. Thane doesn't have anything for me to do. Okay, I think that's it. Currently, right now. So what are we gonna do? It's a good question. Well, I want to go from southwest and do everything I could in the southwest. how about this? Precariously perched on the summit edge of the steep, sparsely forested hillock is a ruined tower that serves as both the home and workshop for the famed transmutationist. Oh no, I visited here already. Tangled swath of forest, Lithis Mountain, Thornwall Dell. This mountain. What's going on over here? Nah, I don't want to climb the summit. And then this, whatever Thornwall Dell is. Nestled between a pair of steep ridges and the western edge of hot hills, the deep vale known as Thornwall Dell is famous as the site of towering mountains built in the honor of Rhaegar, one of the realm's most celebrated adventurers. A well-tended path of blue and white stone dives into the very heart of the dell and meanders through lush woodland to a very clearing, which this stands a giant statue. Despite seemingly pleasant surroundings, you remain mindful of the remoteness of the place. Nah, I'm good. So go back to southwest. Let's do... Yeah, so we were going southwest, so I guess we'll just go up to western and then northwest and down and then back up like that. So let's hit western. We've already been in Sryth. So let's go to Murgspill. See what's going on here. See, there's adventures. Let's save. Murgspill is a growing river port that sprawls along the banks of River Trind. In barely 2 generations, it's grown from the scattering of settlements into a small city. The city is controlled by powerful and rivalrous merchant influences, each seeking to profit from the bustling commerce that Murgspill has attracted in recent years. The Federation of City's large merchants, known as a River Guild, wields great power throughout the region, overseeing and profiting nearly all of the commerce that passes along the river. Let's check the adventures. So there's a few. So let's do one. See how that goes. 3 words. A warm afternoon in late summer, the Blue Owl Tavern, Murgspill. It takes only a moment to recognize the leering countenance from across the Blue Owl's crowded common room. The old man, who has yet to touch the full tankard in front of him, flashes you a sinister grin and slyly beckons to you with a wave of his right hand. With your curiosity tempered by instinctual wariness, you make your way over to the table to which is seated the living body presently occupied by none other than Lord of the Waking Mire. Who's that? Drogmore Thal. Hailing from the shadowy realm in the deepest reaches of Neverness, the Demon Lord, though some accounts simply refer to him as the entity Drogmore Thal, is said to reside in a windless tower that rises out of the heart of the nightmarish swamp known as the Waking Mire. Tales abound of Drogmore Thal's interference in the affairs of Sryth's adventurers, but most accounts he appears to adventurers in the form of a ghostly figure to offer them his help and guidance, while the true intention of the powerful entity known as Dromgor Thal may never be ascertained. Most who have encountered him believe that despite what he professes, his intentions are largely sinister in nature. Dromgor Thal nods approvingly as you draw up to the table. How do you like this show? He asks, making an obvious reference to the body his demonic spirit now inhabits. Don't worry, I can't do much mischief here, even in this form, or should I say particularly in this form, decrepit. But it attracts less attention than the other forms might. It's been a while, old friend. For that I should apologize, thought I won't. Have you a moment to spare? Yeah, what's up? Dromgor Thal rubs his hands together and waves you into the seat opposite his own. Speaking softly, he tells you that he has a task that requires your help. It's just a small thing, really, nothing much. Just a short trek and simple deed. Does it sound like something you can handle? I'd have to assume that any trek that takes one away from this wretched place would be something one would look upon with favour, perhaps even gratitude. Not now I go too far. Dromgor Thal asks if you're interested in hearing about the task he has chosen to offer you. Alright, what is it? Excellent, most very excellent, exclaimed Dromgor Thal. Suddenly, as if dismayed at his own dismay, the demon's broad smile fades and his face adopts a rather sinister scowl. Yes, well, let us get on with business at hand, shall we? Yes, we shall. Before detailing you the task that he wishes you to undertake, Dromgor Thal tells you that he only has a short time left to inhabit the body he's chosen. It's not easy to pass into this world as it is, much less enter it and then take up residence one of these husks, even one as worn and useless as this one is proven to be. It takes a lot of energy, something I'm not currently overflowing with, if you must know. That will change mine, but for now my visits must remain brief. Thought that in no way implies unproductive. You asked Dromgor Thal about the body of the old man he's currently inhabiting. Such compassion, such concern, he says in a mocking tone. Don't worry about the old beast, he'll be fine once I leave. Though fine is, of course, an entirely subjective notion. He'll go back to mundanity. I've never known that couldn't tolerate never knowing that for a fleeting few months he was, in the great scheme of all things that matter, almost everything. Drumgour Thal suddenly falls silent. He closes his eyes and his entire body shudders violently. In the very next instant, when his eyes fly open, he begins speaking swiftly, his unnerving gaze trained unflinchingly on you. There's this man you'll find hiding in the stable outside Sryth. He's only one hand. He's very dangerous sort of man, and he's most certainly not what he seems. You must find him and tell him these 3 words. Are you listening? Be sure that you are. Without warning, the ghostly, echoing voice erupts in your head, pushing aside all semblance of thought as 3 words, otherworldly utterances that leave you trembling are repeatedly intoned for several long moments. And as the voice fades and your mind clears, you start to discover there's something profoundly different about the old man sitting across the table from you. It takes you only a split second to realize the demon is gone, and the old man, whose physical presence was usurped, is once more occupying his own body. The old man looked up and smiled before taking a long draught from his frothing tankard. With the unpleasant echoes of the 3 strange words continue to bounce around inside your head, you make your way out of the tavern, standing on the Blue Owl's doorstep, still unnerved by your most recent encounter with Drumgour Thal. You attempt to decide upon your next course of action. Despite your reservations about knowing very little about the mission bestowed on you by the demon, you feel strangely compelled to see the mysterious task through to completion. You're about to set off on your way, but suddenly spot something that serves to give you pause. A sign dangling from the wooden arm over the tavern's front door, shaped to resemble a small owl, which was most certainly blue when you took note upon your entry, is now quite inexplicably a deep shade of crimson. Interesting. So, as you stroll away from the Blue Owl's tavern, refusing to look back lest its sign should again have changed colour, you decide that you will indeed pay a visit to the stables outside of Sryth, even if you learn more about this strange endeavour in which you now seem somewhat hopelessly embroiled. With a chorus of quayside bells sounding in the distance, you take a deep breath and head to the gates of Murgsp. Oh yeah, I just saw the Sryth tables and I was looking for more adventures in Sryth. Alright, travel back there then. Sryth stables. Sryth stables are comprised of 2 long stable buildings, north and south, and a small compound of related structures that reside just outside the eastern wall of the infamous river port. The stables serve the needs of the city residents and as many visitors probably tend to and keeping their horses safe. Let's talk to the stable master. After several minutes of searching, you manage to locate the stable master, Geralda Haleborn, a tall, thin, bearded man with a deep, reverberating laugh that sounds often throughout the stable compound as this friendly and helpful a soul that you ever hope to meet. He pauses his toils, wipes the sweat from brow, asks if he or any of the stable hand at call might be able to see to your needs. Engage in conversation. You converse with Geralda, for several minutes, mostly about recent happenings in and around Sryth. The amiable stable master seems somewhat disenchanted with the current state of the red port and tells you that he believes the town of mercenaries that fill the city and into the service of Dame Pyron. I'm the last man you'll ever hear speaking against one of the king's thanes, he said, but there's something not quite right about all this. It's as good thing is gathering up his own army, and so it seems, and no one seems to care. Just my own observation, of course. Realizing that Geralda is likely eager to return to the many duties to confront him, and nearly every turn in the bustling stable, you speak with him for a few more minutes before bidding him polite farewell and setting off on your way. Let's talk to hit the shack. Small shack, which appears capable of collapsing at any moment, stands empty. This large outline of winged horse is emblazoned on the center of the warped wooden floor. South stable. The south stable is smaller the structure that comprises Sryth stables. A wide passage divides the stables and is flanked by a row of tall stalls, much of which are occupied. Several stable hands bustle around, tugging away at what appears to be an endless array of chores. You cautiously explore the stable, alert for any sign of the one-handed man you've come seeking at the behest of Drumgour Thal. After making your way through the building, you realize there are 3 places in particular that might be worth your attention: the hayloft, the stalls, and south in the stable, where a large collection of crates have been hayloft. The hayloft, which runs above the stable door, extends for nearly the entire length of the massive structure, and as you would expect, large heaps of hay as well as several sacks of grain are stored here. After making your way through the hayloft, you reach the top of the ladder and take one look around before climbing down. Let's see the stalls. You make your thorough search through the stalls that line either side of the stable's broad central aisle. Then you encounter several stable hens. You see nothing to indicate the man you're looking for is not hiding amongst the stalls. Suddenly, as you turn and are about to head back to the stable, a man previously unseen emerges from the shadowy corner of the stall you searched only a few moments ago. The older man, his unkempt grey beard flapped with bits of hay, calls out for you to wait as he slowly approaches. "I'm the one you're looking for," he says, holding up his right arm to reveal a simple metal hook in place of obviously his missing hand. "They don't have anything to fear from me." The man is ragged, stained attire, as sorry a sight as the tangled grey beard that hangs to the top of his chest, makes his way up to you and bows. Then, in a trembling voice, introduces himself as Tin Will Khan. "I know why you come here," he says, fearfully meeting your inquisitive gaze. "The wretched demon will never relent until I'm once again rotting in his dungeon, until I once again deem the mad fool he's convinced everyone I am. You only have to know I won't go back to him, not for you, not for anyone, not ever." Suddenly, a familiar ghostly voice echoes in your head, surrounding the three words you previously heard in the presence of Drum Gore Thou. The eerie utterance swiftly fades to a soft repeating whisper, and you immediately realize you've been directed to speak into the man standing before you. Do it. You attempt to speak the three words, but the grave is suddenly aware of your intentions, presses and thrusts his hook hand towards you, and a intense wave of pain washes over you. "What?" The pain surges through your body, comes unbearable. Gasping for breath, you collapse to your knees and cry out in agony as the pain of Tin Will Khan's magic attack stabs at the very core of your being. Severely wounded, you manage to regain your feet and turn to face your grey-bearded adversary. Tin Will Khan backs up and scowls again, thrusting his hooked hand towards you. With a wave of pain more intense than the last washes over you, causing you to cry in agony as you struggle to resist the destructive magic now mostly assailing you. "Brah!" "Thank you." Teetering unsteadily on your feet, with your vision somewhat blurred, you stagger forward and lunge at the grey-bearded man, hoping to prevent him from launching another of his deadly magical attack. Subdue. I wasn't called to kill him, I was called to speak three words to him. Do I know what the three words mean? No. Final blow sends Tin Will Khan sprawling to the ground. The grey-bearded man makes a brief attempt to return to his feet, only to have you again send him tumbling down. "Go on then," he gasps, slowly raising up on his knees. "Kill me. Rather be dead than be sent back to the beast. Kill me." "It's not what I called her to do." You see other three words, and almost euphoric sense of relief washes over you. The old man kneeling before you stares up in horror and clutches desperation as chest. "You know nothing of what you've done," he cries, gasping for breath as he stabs the accusatory finger in your direction. "This is..." Before he continues speaking, a pall of black mist suddenly envelopes him. Moments later, when the dark cloud lifts, there's no longer any sign of Tin Will Khan. "Well, that took you long enough." The statement issued as an eerily familiar voice somewhere to your left startles you. Turning to discover the source of the voice, you find yourself almost face to face with the ghostly glowing image of Drugmore Thal. The demon grins as dismisses your immediate unspoken concern with a roll of the eye and waves his hand. "Don't worry, no one can see me, well except for you, of course. But you're most certainly a special sort. Well done. Little meddler must have already died of fright when he heard those three words. Serves him right, does. The little thief is back to where he belongs, and I am, well, I'm able to perceive it contented." You inquire about the fate of Tin Will Khan. Drum Gore Thou seems surprised by the inquiry in his eyes. "I forgot," he says, eyes again rolling his eyes, concerned for others. "Some of it, hopefully feigned, is sort of your way, isn't it? It's really quite unfortunate, very limiting, you see." The demon pauses, but continues to stare at you, perhaps waiting to see if you respond to what he's just said. When you do not, he sighs and continues. "Well, since you apparently need to know, you'll agree the fool is fine. He will remain alive and reasonably well provided he resumes his dutiful subservience. I have to believe he has seen the folly of his previous choices. If not, he will." Drumglethal tells you that Tin Will Khan is now back within the windless tower of the demon's own impregnable abode, deep in the twisted heart of the waking mire. "I would like nothing more than for you to visit my home," he says, suddenly grinning wickedly, "but the time for that has not yet arrived. I'm tired, though, and I continue to gather my strength for what lies ahead. When the time does come, I hope to find you accommodating to such an invitation. To refuse would be quite troublesome. With regard to your place in my grand schemes, it would also be just plain rude. Drawn without glowing image flickers wildly and then begins to slowly fade from view. The lord of the waking mire smiles, bows, and waves his right hand. Almost immediately, a strange, disoriented sensation surges over you. The last bits of the demon, two glowing wisps of the mist in the shape of eyes, linger for several moments or scattering around the air. After taking a few moments to compose yourself in the wake of an unsettling encounter, you turn and make your way out of the stable. Though it is early afternoon when you enter the stable in search of the man you came here seeking at Drum Gore Bow's behest, it is now nearly dusk. Your mind churns as you attempt to reason how it is that so time has passed since your arrival at the stables. At last, realizing the matter is for now best left alone, you begrudgingly resign yourself to it, accepting the unnerving likelihood that the further encounters with the demon are most certainly lurking somewhere in your future. As you prepare to set out from the stable, you suddenly, and with growing dismay, notice that an approaching dusk is seemingly abandoned in its gradual progression, as instead becoming a hastened onset of a still cloudless night. 3 words. What a quest! Pew! Well, I'm gonna save at my house, which is this way. Up at my house is the last place in here. I'm gonna save. I'm healed up. Kendall's is nearby and watching me. Functional upgrades. Okay. Search the library. Time. I'll take some shadow magic. Thank you so much. Which one was that? Okay, and then what else? Standing in the corners of one of the larger courtyards that flank Apple of the castle, your Halagirum stands silent and waiting, still waiting for the time when it be called to action allowed to unleash his fearsome ancient might. It is possible, though perhaps not advisable, to spar with Halagram. Engaging in non-lethal combat with a magical item might be a way to practice and prove your already formidable battle prowess. You can spar 3 times a day. Alright, we'll do one. You step toward Hologram and raise your hand, signaling the start of what you hope will prove to be a non-lethal contest. Immediately the fearsome guardian begins to move. Wasting no time, you drive yourself into the battle-ready stance of the towering construct stomps across the courtyard towards you. I mean, I can't kill him. I'm not allowed to flee either. I'm in. With a loud groan that echoes off the courtyard, the towering topples over the insect behemoth. In like a few moments, however, the fearsome construct rumbles to life and swiftly raises to his feet. Remarkably, the Halcron bears no signs of having sustained any damage. You're about to step back, the similar into the spawning session. The mighty guardian does something expected. You notice only by effort that Hologram picks up a massive chunk of rocks at the edge of one of the courtyards and promptly hurls it at you. Fortification. Shimmering dim blue sparkles above you. Only a split second before the arrival of the rock, the massive chunk of stone smashes into your magical barrier, shattering upon impact. The jagged remnants of the giant rock harmlessly tumble up the sparkling field and land on the ground. Before you can catch your breath and follow your narrow escape from certain death, your Hologram, the fearsome guardian, stomps forward and engages you again. What? I thought we were gonna fight what? He mad, he lost. A tremendous groan. Okay. Well, we're gonna do restoration while you're playing games. Until full. Alright, elementalism. Channel path of elementalism. A mighty air elemental is around its resounding roar like the savage howl of fierce storm tears down out of the sky, heeding your call. The elemental sweeps across the courtyard and surges into the falling rocks, sending off course. A large chunk of stone lands on the ground with a third several yards to your right. If you even catch your breath, following their escape from certain death, your Halagirum, the fearsome guardian of Apple Castle, stomps forward and engages you again. What do you want from me? You're supposed to be able to spot 3 times and they done. And you're trying to fight me. You don't want me to win. But your minutes grown once again has been bested by your remarkable combat prowess. Topples over and ends up in a heap on the ground. After only a few moments, however, the fearsome construct rumbles to life and swiftly rises to his feet. Apparently, having had enough of your friendly sparring session, the hologram turns and retreats into the corner courtyard with dutifully resumes its still in silent vigil. As you lower your guard and work to catch your breath, you find yourself increasingly thankful still to be standing. Now I want to spar with him. What a jerk. It's in the payroll cell. I don't want to explore the cellar. Alright, you guys, that is going to be it for today's episode. Thank you so much for hanging out and watching with me. You know what I'm going to say. Peace.